Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown with the awesome folks at Fishman. My name is Angela Petrilli. So happy all of you guys are here today. It's going to be a fun one. Today's episode is pre-recorded, but don't worry. We're going to have a lot of fun today. It's still going to be fun and interactive and all that good stuff. If you're digging the videos, folks, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps the cause, and when you subscribe, it'll let you know when more of these riff rundowns are going to be coming out. So be sure to subscribe. I'd so appreciate it. So today we're going to be learning is Night Moves by Bob Seger, one of my favorite coming of age tunes. We're going to be going through it chord by chord, note by note, all of that good stuff. So folks at home, have your guitars in standard tuning. Grab a capo. We're going to put it on the first fret. Okay, so capo 1, standard tuning. This one's going to be a lot of fun today. As always, I like to ask a question. So folks, let me know where you are tuning in from and your favorite coming of age song. So where you're tuning in from and your favorite coming of age song. So here we go, folks. Here is Night Moves. This is a fun one. You can clearly tell I love this song. I know when I'm hanging out with friends and there's, pit fire, we're having fun and all of that good stuff. We're all hanging out and playing music. I know that this is a tune that we always play together. So this is a really fun one. So as you can tell, this one's focused towards my beginners. So my advanced students who are watching today, let's send some words of encouragement to our beginners who are joining us today. So let's give some words of encouragement. This is a fun one. Again, really focused on that groove, that strumming. As you notice, it's very percussive. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So let's go ahead and look here at the intro and the verse, okay? So what's happening here is we've got this G chord. We have an F over C, which I'll be talking about, and a C chord. Okay, so we're going to be going back and forth between these three chords, okay? So our first one here is going to be this grip of this G chord, okay? So with this G chord, what we want to do, we want to place our third finger on that third fret of the E string. That is our G note, again, relative to the capo. We don't have any bar chords in this song today. You have the capo to thank for that, okay? So place your third finger here. We're going to be calling this G today on that third fret in the E string, okay? Relative to the capo. Pinky finger, place that on the third fret of that E string, okay? And we're going to strum everything. Now, because of how this third finger is placed on this E string here, that A string going to be muted. Usually we don't want muted strings like this, but in this case we do. So strum everything. That A string will be muted because of your third finger. Okay, so there's that shape. So when I was watching Bob Seger play this at his last show, it was 2017 at the Palace in Detroit, I did see him play it this way. So I will leave it up to you. I'll give you guys two options on that. But from listening to the album, it sounds like this to me. But if you want to play the regular G chord like this, where you're placing that third finger on the D note here, third fret of the B string, and that second finger right here, second fret of the A string, you can do that too. So I'll leave that up to you. When I was watching him play it live, I noticed he did this. But for today's lesson, we're going to go ahead and grip it this way because it's a lot of fun. So we've got that. Now we have our F over C. How we're going to play it is like this. Again, I'm going to give you two options. First finger, placing that on C, first fret of that B string. Your second finger, second fret of the G string, that's going to be the A note, okay? Your third finger, reach up. This one's going to play C. So when we say F over C, that third finger is the one that's doing that, that is playing that C note, okay? So that third finger, put that on the C note, third fret of that A string. You can do it. Reach up. It's possible, I promise. Fourth finger, go ahead and put that on F, third fret of that D string, like that. Now, this is level one. If you wanted to play just the A string, right, that C note through the B string, so you're playing the A string, D string, G string, and B string, great. If you want an added bonus, this is for my level 2, right, the extra stuff, if you want to go ahead and put your thumb here on that F, you can add that in too, but then we don't have that nice slash chord of that C. So I'll leave either version you want to do. I know with me, I kind of like that slash, I like that C up top there. Sounds pretty nice when we're switching through. Now, when we play our next chord, which is C, check out this switch. So all we're going to do here, to get to the C chord, don't move your first finger and don't move your third finger. Those are going to be our pivot points, okay? So lift the pinky up. See how I just did this? Lifting the second finger up from here, second fret of that D string like this. And that's how we're going to get to that C chord from the F over C position, okay? So if we look at all those chords, F over C to C. Notice how my first finger and my third finger did not move, okay? So those are the chords that we're going to be going back and forth. The order will be that G, F over C, C, back to F over C. And that's where it starts repeating, okay? So now, here's the strumming. Okay? So think like a drummer. Notice how those hits, right? They're on the 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So how we get that kind of hit, right? We're emulating that snare drum. It's a really, really cool part, really cool groove that really ties through the whole song. So what we're gonna do here is to get that hit. We don't want to be super aggressive when we're doing that. What we're doing here is we're going to be hitting the strings with this part of our hand. I'll do it a little slowly here, like that. We don't want the pick to hit those strings. We want this, that heel of the hand, we want that to hit first, okay? So I'm going to do this slow and follow along with me. We're just going to stick to the G chord here, okay? So nice and slow. Just like that, nice and slow. Now, let's go ahead and add these extra chords. That F over C to C, it comes quick, okay? But I'll take it slow. So here we go, follow along. We continue the pattern with that C chord. So that's what's happening in the intro, and that's what's happening in that verse. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the chorus, all right? So that chorus, we're going to be leading into it from a C chord. We're not going to go back to that F over C. We're going to keep it on that C chord. Remember, C, E, G, those are our target points, our 1, 3, 5 for that chord. Okay, so we're going to hold on to this to get into the chorus. I'll play it in context with a couple lines from that verse so you can hear it in context, okay? And I'll let you know when the chorus is coming up. So here we go. This is the intro verse. One more time. Hold it. Here comes the chorus. To that intro verse. I'll go ahead and talk you through that. So we're going to lead in, as I mentioned, leading in with that C chord. The chords in the chorus are going to be E minor, it's going to be D, and C. Okay, so the order, E minor, D, C, and D. Okay, so now let's go ahead and here and look at what's happening. E minor, right? Nice friendly chord. We know how to play this one. Our second and third finger. Our second finger, we're going to place that on the second fret of that A string. That is going to be our B note, and then our third finger is going to play the E note, second fret of the D string, strum everything. Okay, we have our D chord here, D, F sharp, A. Those are our target points, 1, 3, 5. And our C chord, C, E, G, target points. Okay, so with this, keeping that groove, so there's lots of upstrums here, right? There's a lot of upstrums. Don't worry, okay? I know for some of our beginners, it might feel like you're fighting gravity on this. What I want you to do, and something I'd like you to remember, okay? Try not to hold the pick too hard. Let it graze over those strings. We don't want to hear all those peaks and valleys. Let it graze over those strings. Let the pick do the work for you. Again, this is the cheapest amplifier that we can buy, okay? So let it do the work for you. Graze it across the strings, okay? Less is more with this. Want to sound nice and airy, okay? So going back, E minor, D, C, D. We're going to be going back and forth with these, okay? Nice and light. Notice how I'm strumming from the elbow here, okay? Again, gaining some really nice sustain. So here we go. Going back into that intro. Let's go ahead and do that again. Okay, here we go, and then we'll tie it in with the intro. Okay, so there we go. Into that verse. Okay, so now let's tie it in. Let's do a couple lines of that intro verse into the chorus, and then an intro verse right after that chorus. All right, so here we go. Intro. Time. Hold that C. We're going into the chorus. Back into the intro. See how that comes together. Really, really cool stuff and very basic, simple chords, but what a great song this is. And again, those of you tuning in late, let me know where you're tuning in from and your favorite coming of age tune. All right, so that is the intro chorus. Let's go ahead and look at the breakdown here. So we get through that chorus, that second chorus, okay? So we have the breakdown. It's gonna sound like this. Pretty easy, pretty cool, fun chords. All right, so we've got the E minor. We're gonna hold this, let it ring. Nice big strum here. Now we're gonna go to D. I like to do that on an up strum. So an up, down, up kind of strum, okay? To G, let it ring, G7. Okay, so it'll sound something like this. So again, the target notes here for this E minor, E, G, and B. Our D chord here, D, F sharp, A. Okay, to our G chord here, we're gonna do this group again, just like we did with the intro. So G, B, and D are our target points now. To get to this G, to this G7, because that's always a fun transition. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, keep that third finger where it is, all right? Move the second finger here to the second fret of that A string. It's going to be your B note. And your first finger is playing F on the first fret of the E string. That's the flat 7. That's what makes this that dominant 7 chord, right? So there we go. It's G, B, D plus the F. So that's what makes it a 7th. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Now let's go ahead and do this. We're going to do a chorus into this breakdown. Okay, so here we go. That C. Now let's do a quick intro. Now into our breakdown, E minor. Right, and he kind of fills the space, just hitting some of the strings. Any strings you want to hit, it's going to sound good. D chord, G, G7. So again, with that breakdown part, with that E minor, you hear those notes that he'll. I want you to get creative here. Play any notes that you like. Because again, all these notes that we have, all these open strings, they're all in E minor. So whatever you play is going to sound great. Again, with these lessons, I like to tell you guys, I'm planting the seeds. So see what feels good. See what feels good. Sounds good to your ear. All right, so that's that breakdown. So now we have our first bridge, okay? So we're gonna get each of these chords 2 bars. It's gonna sound like this. So it's C, G, C, F over C, and then back to D, okay? So it's gonna sound like this. Keeping that strumming pattern from the top. Here comes that F over C to our D chord. Okay, so that's it a little fast. Let's go ahead and do that a little slower. So this is the bridge. 2 bars for each of these chords. Here we go. I'm going to do it a little bit slower. G chord. Back to C, F over C, D, now we're going to go into bridge 2. There are 2 bridges in this. And I was reading up on this too, and he said he got the idea from Jungle Land by Bruce Springsteen, which I thought was really cool. So fun Jeopardy fun fact, if you see it on Jeopardy and you know the answer right, you're welcome, folks. Okay, so here we go here. Bridge number 2, we're going to have a lot of big strums on these chords, okay? And again, when I was watching him play this at the Palace, and you can watch this video on YouTube, you can check it out, I noticed that he was playing a C major 7 with an added root on top. So this is pretty cool. So here's that bridge, number 2. These kind of chords. Really, really beautiful progression. This is the part of the song where it's cool where he time travels, which I think is so neat. He's singing about his younger self, and then in this second bridge, he's talking about himself older and perhaps in the present. So it's a really, really neat thing. I just love the song. So we've got our G chord here. Give it a good strum. Let it breathe. Let it ring, folks. Now this next chord. A lot of times we see this as a C major 7, which will sound great. But what I noticed when he was playing this at the Palace is he added a G on top. So it would be a C major 7 over G. We also see this chord in the song Melissa by the Allman Brothers. They use this one too. It's a really, really beautiful chord. So when I was watching the video, that's what I saw. If you want to play a regular C major 7, totally cool, folks. But if you want to add in that extra G in the bass, I think it sounds great. So, a good way that we can get here, you have your G chord. So, this C major 7 over G. What we want to do here, put your first finger on the 2nd fret of that D string. So that note is E. Your 2nd finger reaching up to play G, 3rd fret of the E string, and your 3rd finger is playing C, 3rd fret of the A string. Strum everything. Cool chord, right? So that's what's happening there. Now, if you didn't want to do that G note, that's okay. You could play a C major 7 and you would just omit that G note. You would strum from the A string downward. Like that. Okay? So again, we'll leave that up to you. I kind of like this. This is I think it's pretty cool. And again, we're just going to let these ring. Listen to the song and hear how really allows the song to breathe, and it's very introspective. I think it's a really, really beautiful way that they produce this bit of the song. It's just awesome. So we've got that. G, C major 7 over G. Let it ring. Back to G. C major 7 over G. E minor. We're going to go back to the C major 7 over G to E minor. I'm going to do that 3 times. Okay. Then what he does here is he goes to C. He lifts up his first finger, now playing C major 7. And then we get back into that groove, the intro and the verse, and that big chorus send off, okay? So let's go ahead and do this again here. G, C major 7 over G, the E minors, all that good stuff. So follow along. Take your time here, folks, okay? So here we go. G ring as well. And then he does this little tiny riff at the end of it. And then we get really back into that. So let's talk about the little tiny riff here. So we have G major. Let it ring. Okay. We're going to sneak this in. All right. So let's talk about how we're going to do this here. Open A string. First finger on that second fret of the A string. That's your B note. So we're going to hammer on there. Just like that. Open D string. Now, important thing here too, we want that B note to still ring as we pluck that D string just underneath it. So it would sound like this. And again, it's a really quick little riff. Now, I like to grab that with my second finger and then make a really quick switch and go back to this version of G. So it would look like this. Now, that's too much for some of you. Totally okay. You could just do it this way. And reach with that G with your third finger. You could do that too, but I don't know. It feels good to me to grab with the second finger, but because that hit that you have gives you that space to switch over to here, but I will leave that up to you. If you want to grab it with your third finger, totally cool, okay? So that's what's happening there. Let's go ahead and go through that second bridge, all right, with the G chord, with the riff. And folks, we are done for today. As always, if you guys are enjoying these lessons, be sure to subscribe to the channel to check out all the cool stuff that Fishman is up to. You can click the link in my video description. You can hear and read all about the R Spectrum DI that I use on every single one of these lessons. The silver box that I talk about, I love it. And the Matrix Infinity pickups and the Loud Box Performer amp, which I've got here off camera. So you can check all that good stuff out on the link in the video. And as always, yeah, be sure to subscribe to the channel, folks. It helps the cause. So let's go ahead and play bridge 2. So here we go. Open G. Our G chord. That's that intro. And we're just gonna rock out till the end of the song. Really feel that groove. Again, emulating the drummer. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I would suggest you really get that groove down. I always suggest playing along to the song. Always a really cool thing to do. Start off just to, get your C legs, right, with this chord. Start with one chord, right? When you're getting used to how this strumming pattern works and this groove, stick to the G chord and just... and just hang there. When you're feeling adventurous enough and ready, start to add in those other chords. Just jump in feet first. So there you have it, folks. There is Night Moves by the awesome Bob Seger. Such a fun one to play. As always, wishing you all so much success in your musical journey. I will see you all next week on a brand new episode of the Riff Rundown. So everybody take good care, happy playing, and I